I want us to listen to one another. Why I'm mentioning this is that this is Senate. Every word that comes from the mouth of an elder is something we can use to work on, legislate on, and move the country forward. This issue of out-of-school children is one of the most important and a major source of insecurity in this country. 20 million children that are out of school is a time bomb for any country. Already we are experiencing banditry. And of course, I also want to thank Senator Ndubueze. Senator, if you want to talk about appropriation, take him outside. I just have to mention your names one by one now so that you know that here you have the decorum in the Senate. There is decorum in the Senate. I'm not impressed that people are not listening to one another. So why would he speak and others listen to him? When it is his turn, he's engaging you in appropriation discussion. Please, let's be serious here. This is a very important topic. I allowed 1 hour, 30 minutes, because if we can solve the problem of out-of-school children in Nigeria, over 20 million children that are out of school, those are potential bandits. Major danger. You can send your children to Cambridge, send your children to Harvard. They can't come back home. You can stay here as a senator, and your house is occupied by bandits at home. I have colleagues who are now ministers who have not been to some places in Borno for 5 years. They build houses, abandon those houses. It started from this out-of-school children issue. So that's why I allowed us to discuss it. It's a very major issue. So let us look at the recommendations and see where it falls short. We add, we amend, or we bring up an addition that can at least help us to make our input towards resolving these issues. Senator Goje, Senator Bello, Senator Lalong, and distinguished Senator Dixon, and a few others here with me, we've had the privileges of being governors in our various states. And we know that primary school education, basic education, belongs to even local government, assisted by the states. The salaries of primary school teachers are paid by local governments. That is why we applaud the Supreme Court decision that monies meant for local government should go direct to local governments. It should not be withheld, deducted, and used for other sources. So it's our job now as legislators to give verve to the Supreme Court decision. And like the Attorney General of the Federation said, I was in Calabar the other day when somebody stood up to give a lecture castigating the Supreme Court and all that, and I refuse to make comment, because if you are not satisfied with the Supreme Court decision, you go to God. The Supreme Court has spoken, and it is our business to obey the Supreme Court. In the legislature, it's our business to tinker and work around the laws to make sure that that decision of the Supreme Court is not in vain. So these out-of-school children, if we have to make a legislation on it national, we must do so. So please, let's be very, very serious about this. You have children. They can't come back from abroad after all the investment and they die without knowing why. Because a group of bandits will lay them on the road, rape them, kill them, and then you don't know why they are dying. They are dying because you failed to do the basic. You failed to send your neighbor's child to school. When I was a governor, I declared free and compulsory education for all Nigerian children who found their ways into Akwa Ibom. Paid their WAEC fees, their NAPTIC fees, everything. Compulsory. And I had education monitors. From 8 in the morning, they go around. If they see a child that is hawking, they'll pick up the child, go and arrest the parents. And there were consequences, 6 months imprisonment for any parent or guardian. They allowed a child of school age not to be in school. So if we can replicate that nationally, I think we can solve the problem. We had to build over 6,000 new classroom blocks because of the influx of students. My state was regarded as we had this house boy, house girl syndrome. When I declared free and compulsory education, you could not see any acquired person selling groundnut in Lagos. So this is a very serious issue. You go to Kano and you see the number of children who are outside. If the state governments can take action backed by federal government, then something will be done. If we are not able to access UBEC forms, UBEC forms, then we should remove the idea of counterpart funding and then send those monies to, what is the point of keeping billions and billions and billions for over 10 years on the ground that states could not access? We must take this issue very seriously. This is the core of the insecurity in this country. Recommendation 1.
Mr. President, point of order. Sorry, Mr. President and my dear colleague.
I apologize to the chief whips. The chief whip, you had to take over your job to call our colleagues to order because of the seriousness of what we were discussing, so that we know, because this is clearly the future of Nigeria. And I pray that through the national summit, the resolutions to be implemented, issues to be well highlighted, and then all efforts to be made to bring this menace to an end so that our children can have a better future and not an adulthood in banditry, an adulthood in Boko Haram, an adulthood in fraud. I thank you all. Leader of the